Hi, this is Ashley from defeatingbusy.com, and today I wanted to talk to you about setting up coconuts in your life. Isn't that crazy? Well, not if you've read Visioneering by Andy Stanley. This is a huge recommendation from me. If you feel like God has placed a vision in your life, something that you would like to see come to pass, this is a great book to read in terms of what to expect and encouragement, and just a must read if you feel like you have a vision. So here's the story that Andy tells. It's a short one. When I was a kid, our family owned an 18-foot travel trailer. Every summer, the four of us loaded up and headed to the beach. Our favorite place to camp was on the stretch of beach outside Naples, Florida. Now, back in the mid-60s, there was nothing there but sand. No houses, no condos, and no sanctioned campsite. We would simply drive out on the beach along the tree line until we found a spot that suited us. Often we would go for days without seeing another person. The water along that portion of the Florida coast is beautiful, but the undertow can be fierce. And if you aren't paying attention, you'll find yourself hundreds of feet down the beach from where you put in. It's more frightening than dangerous. As a kid, I can still remember looking back at the shore and wondering why Mom and Dad had moved the campsite. As a precautionary measure, Dad would pile up a dozen or so coconuts, about 40 yards down the beach from the trailer. He instructed us to stay between the trailer and the coconuts. If the tide took us past the coconuts, we were to get out of the water and walk back up the beach until we were even with the trailer before getting back in. And this made me think, as he told the story, about the importance of setting up coconuts in our own lives. Because sometimes when you're just living life, doing your thing, you don't know when you've moved past the coconut boundary. So I just wanted to give you some quick examples of coconut boundaries in different areas of our life. Let's start with the most important, spiritual. And for me, I've set up a couple of boundaries that every day I'm going to read my Bible. And every Sunday, unless I have family in or we're out of town, I'm going to go to church. Whether I feel like it, because some days I don't, or whether I don't feel like it, because it's not about how I feel, it's about the obedience to God. And work. I have a boundary to stop working at dinner, no matter what the project is. Now, there have been rare occasions when I'd work after we put Francesca to bed, but for the most part, once dinner is ready, everything else stops and we spend that time together. How about a financial boundary? For us, I'd say typically we discuss purchases that are 3 figures and up, unless it's something routine, like I went to Target and spent a ridiculous amount, of Kroger, something expected. But if there's something we want to spend $100 or more on, we talk about that to make sure we're both on the same page that this is how we can best use our money at that time. Health. For me, a huge boundary that I know when I'm getting close to the edge is when I think about weighing in all the time. Like I wonder every day, should I weigh in? Should I get on the scale? Have I lost anything? That's when I know I need a heart check, because I'm starting to have the wrong reasons for getting healthy and for staying healthy. It's becoming more about appearance or about a certain number than it is just about the health itself. How about in marriage? So for me, another thing that I've dealt with is if I notice that I start to really enjoy compliments that I'm getting from a male friend of mine, or, I'm really looking forward to seeing him, that I need to take a step back in that relationship and I need to put up some distance, because at that point it starts to be unhealthy for my marriage. And, little innocent things like that could lead to something not so innocent. So I have a boundary there that male friendships are fine, but once I start to enjoy them too much, that's when it's time to rethink and revisit. And how about the last one with my time, a boundary with my time that I kind of started thinking about after a couple weeks ago was when I spent my whole Saturday doing stuff, and at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I do today? All I can remember is a couple loads of laundry. And the truth is, what had happened is I'd spent all day online looking at this site or that site or on Facebook or whatever. I had spent way too much of my day. I mean, at least, 2 or 3 hours online, and poof, that part of my day had gone, and I had nothing to show for it. I wasn't spending that time with my family. I wasn't spending that time growing myself. I wasn't spending that time with God. It was gone. So just a cute story about coconuts and boundaries, and, think about setting some boundaries in your life to keep you on the right path. And again, that book was Visioneering by Andy Stanley. It was one of my must reads for this year.